Hi everyone, I'm going to do a nice painterly sunset with a boat and some mountains. I'm using a bit of Saunders Waterford. It's 5 by 7 inches and my 3 brushes. So I've got my round number 10, round number 6 and a rigger and a Cotman palette, which I'll pop a link to in the description. So with the painterly series that I do, we tend to work quite loosely and it's really effective. So I'm starting with my round number 10 and I'm going to come on about halfway with the water to make sure I get a nice even coat. No puddles, no dull bits. You want it to be nice and glistening. I'm going to dip my brush into the water and then I'm going to come into the cadmium yellow. We're going to take that through for that golden glow. I'm going to dip into some cadmium red. Just start to bring that through. So we're getting warmer as we go further up. And then I'm going to dip into some alizarin crimson. So I haven't rinsed my brush at any point as I've done this. I'm just blending these colours together. I did not mean to knock that then. Got that back. I have got a 5p piece, or you want a small coin, and a bit of tissue. I'm going to wrap the coin in the tissue and dab so that I get a really nice glow from the sun. Okay, I'm going to dry that one off. Okay, so that's nicely dry now. I'm going to wet a couple of little mountains in here. I'm going to take a little bit of sap green, so I'm using my round number 6 now into those distant mountains. Bring one slightly further down. Then I'm going to come into some, I've got ivory black. If you've got Payne's grey, that would work as well. I'm going to bring that along that top edge. Along the top edge, and you're just going to let it run down. If you want to do one of these at a time, if you're on a wood pulp paper, that's probably best anyway. And then I don't want to come all the way to the end. I want to leave a little bit of a glow there. Okay, I'll dry that one off. Okay, so that's nicely dry. And we're going to come in and wet the water now. So I'm back to my round number 10. And start with some cadmium yellow. And bring that through. And into the cadmium red. So we're mirroring the colours from the sky. I want to get them nice and bold in this foreground section. And then into the alizarin crimson. So getting that really nice and bold effect. I'm going to swap down to my number 6. Pick up a bit of the sap green. We're just going to mirror this into the water because the water's quite still. And number 6 just pops you a little bit more in control. Just dab that off, and I'm just taking a little bit of the ivory black in. So what I'm doing now is rinsing my brush off and drying it off, and what I'm going to do is manipulate what's there. You don't want to take your brush too wet in, which is why I dry it off, and then you can just manipulate just so you're getting a little bit of a mirrored effect. If it's gone too far, which it has here, rinse your brush, dry it off, and just lift that bit off. As long as the brush is dry, it will lift and it won't make a mark. And that's working really lovely. Okay, I'll dry that one off. Okay, so that's nicely dry, and I've gone back to my big round number 10. We're going to bring in a little bit of extra colour. So this Painterly series, I'm going much looser. This is a little bit of the cadmium yellow coming in. And this is coming on to dry now. So these are, you just capturing these brush strokes. Cadmium red. Alizarin. So it's bolding it up in places and giving it a little bit of movement. I'm going to do the same on the water. I want you to keep horizontal strokes on the water, and you can actually just leave little gaps and it'll create a little bit of a glistening on the water from the sun. So this is the cadmium red. And then the alizarin crimson. Take a tiny bit of the sap green just over those reflections there. Okay, I'll dry that one off. Okay, so that's nicely dry. I'm going back down to my number 6. I'm just going to pop in a little bit more definition. So this is with the ivory black, just on the mountains. Sticking towards the top. Just doing a few craggy lines down. And that's working really nicely. I'm going to take a tiny bit more into the water. So the more I can bold up this section here, the more forward it will come. So this is the cadmium red again. Just keep loading your brush up because you're using your number 6, so you get smaller strokes, but you still need them to be fairly wet to work. And then a little bit of the alizarin crimson. This is just bringing this section a little bit more forward, bolding up. Just take a tiny bit of the cadmium yellow, just bring that through here. And that's working really nice. I've got real glisten on there. And then I want a tiny little boat. So if I go with my rigger, which is a tricky one to use in the ivory black, I'm just going to pop in a little boat. It can be a really little shape, doesn't have to be too precise. In fact, I'm going to take a little bit of a sailboat, I think, a little bit of something here. And then if I just dry that off, I'll show you how to do the reflection. And then for the reflection, just want a little wiggle. So we're just going to pop a little wiggle of the dark underneath. So this is the ivory black again, and that's my reflection. I'll dry that one off. And there we go, that's all finished. So I hope you've enjoyed it. A few techniques in there, really lovely painterly style sunset tutorial. I'll pop a video here and another playlist here, and please do check out my membership option, which gives you access to more complex tutorials but are still simple step by step that I would do within classes, so you can build your skills more, and that's £5.99 a month. I'll pop a link. Thank you.